Hey, welcome to Real Talk Baseball. Coming up on today's show, we have two-star pitchers, most added players, and a new segment I like to call Is He Legit or Nah? All coming up on Real Talk Fantasy Baseball. All right, welcome everybody. What's up, dude? What's up, Hobby? Let's see if anyone's joined yet. Don't see anyone yet, so they should be joining us soon. They usually come in within the next a couple minutes or so. So you ready to get in today's show, man?
Let's do
it. We're finally talking about baseball that's already happened instead of talking about baseball that's gonna happen. You know, we've been doing all these position previews, and now we're actually talking about who we're recommending to pick up, whether it's this weekend, next week, in the future, who you want to hold on to, all that stuff. So getting right into it, let's start with the two-star pitchers for this week. So there's a lot of two-star pitchers this week, and honestly, there's not really a lot of good ones to choose from. Most of the two-star pitchers that we have for next week are pretty high-end pitchers. Let's see, it's looks like there's about 15 starting pitchers that are owned in more than 70% of leagues. So if you want to go ahead and give us your recommendation for next week, your two-star pitcher that's owned in less than 70% of fantasy baseball leagues.
All right. If we're gonna go less than 70, like you said, it's a lot of all-star caliber pitchers next week. So the choices are pretty slim. I'm going pretty much matchup based. The one that sticks out for me is Jose Suarez from the Angels. He's got I forgot who. Damn, I didn't look that up. I forgot who they play, but I think he's got a pretty weak. He's playing two of the weaker teams. I think the Nationals.
So I see he's versus the Nationals and at the Red Sox.
Yeah, and then so both of those teams are more like in a rebuilding kind of stage. So Angels offense is pretty good. I can see him. Even I think he got roughed up pretty good in his first start, but I think against a weaker lineup, he should excel.
All right. Yeah, I kind of like that. We've seen some interesting things from Jose Suarez the last couple seasons. I remember I've picked him up as a streamer, in previous seasons before, and honestly, I can't tell you if it worked out for me or not because I really don't. I don't remember. I don't really remember because there's so many different players that we're picking up on a weekly basis. In our league, we have 7 acquisitions that we can do each week.
Right.
And in most leagues, you have somewhat of a limit. So you do have to be pretty selective about who you're picking up. So let's see what Tony said. Tony said, this week's 2-game pitchers suck. And yes, you are correct with that, sir. And going along with that, there's really only 2 pitchers that I was looking at. I would really like to say Grayson Rodriguez, but unfortunately, he's 80% rostered, even though he's a rookie. So I am going Kyle Gibson. Now, Kyle Gibson is versus the A's and at the White Sox. And anyone versus the A's is going to be a great matchup. They don't have the best lineup, even with Jesus Aguilar hitting that monster home run yesterday. But Kyle Gibson, he's in Baltimore now. Playing with the outfield that changed their dimensions in left field. There's going to be less home runs than we're used to seeing in Baltimore. It used to be known as a pretty big righty home run ballpark, but I feel like now, since they moved the fence back a little bit, it's going to be a little bit easier for pitchers to be able to stay under that threshold of letting too many home runs out. And then where did I see him at the White Sox. So the White Sox haven't been doing too great. Right now they have 2 losses and 3 wins. So you know, in the mix of all this, of all the bad options, I feel like Kyle Gibson is one of the good ones. There's 2 other guys that I was actually looking at. Another one is Kenta Maeda. Now, Kenta Maeda used to be a really, really good pitcher, and then he started having some control issues. His velocity was going down. We saw his fastball going below 90 miles an hour. And then he had Tommy John surgery, you know, and he didn't pitch at all in 2021. We saw him come back last year, and last year he just sucked. He was really bad, and just everyone dropped him, and that was fine because he even ended the season, you know, continuing to struggle. Right. But, you know, now a little more than a year after Tommy John surgery, he has been walking a few batters a little more than I would like to see, but velocity is up. Breaking pitches look really good. He's kind of starting to look more like the Kenta Maeda that was, you know, at the last season that he was with the Dodgers and the first season that he was with the Twins. So I kind of like what I'm seeing. The only reason why I'm not recommending him for next week is because now he does have the White Sox. He's versus the White Sox in his first matchup, but then he's at the Yankees and he's facing Garrett Cole. So I like him as a one-start streamer, you know, for anyone that wants to pick him up just for the April 10th game, which I believe that's Monday. But, yeah, you don't want to hold – if you're going to pick him up, you don't want to start him against the Yankees. He's more than likely going to be serving up, you know, a few hits, maybe a couple home runs, pitching at Yankee Stadium. So definitely don't want to do that. And another guy that I was looking at going – all the way on the bottom, he's only 7% owned, is Bryce Elder from Atlanta. Now, Bryce Elder he's a young guy. Let me see. He's 23 years old, right-handed pitcher, been in the Braves farm system for a while now. 2022 with Atlanta, he actually had a 3.17 ERA. He only had 9 starts last season. So actually, small sample size, 9 starts. That's about a third of a season for a starting pitcher. But a 3.17 ERA for such a young pitcher, I feel like that's actually pretty good. And I do recommend him, even though I do like Kyle Gibson just a little bit more. So Bryce Elder has the Reds at home in Atlanta, and then he's at the Royals. So if you like those younger pitchers, Bryce Elder is actually a pretty good option. If you want to go for someone that has kind of shown signs of life, even though he's a little bit on the older side, I believe Kyle Gibson's 35 years old. He has the A's and the White Sox. And Javi said, trying to find the name again, Jose Suarez from the Angels versus the Washington and at the Red Sox. So 3 decent options for you guys. You know, in the pile of trash, we kind of picked out a couple and polished it off, you know. So hopefully if you guys do pick up our recommendations that we didn't steer you wrong, and, you know, maybe it'll help you win your week. All right, going into our next topic, the most added players. Now, this one is it's a little weird for me to see Kyle Freeland at the top of the most added pitchers for the end of week 1. Pitcher in Colorado, he's going to pitch half of his games in Colorado. The Coors Field effect, you know, it's not so bad right now with the cold weather. Once the weather starts warming up, the air is going to get super, super thin, and we're just going to see even more home runs than what we've been seeing. Like the home runs galore lately, man. I think they said that like after the first weekend of baseball, there were 3 times as many home runs that there was last season. And I'm actually hearing some speculations from other analysts out there that they might even be using a juiced ball again.
I heard something about that.
I don't really know how much truth there is to that because I'm looking at exit velocities and on average, most hitters are hitting the ball around 88, 89 miles an hour average exit velocity, but that's actually gone up too. So these hitters are hitting the ball even harder than they were in previous seasons. Most hitters are ranging around like 91, 92, which, 2 mile an hour difference, exit velocity is actually a pretty significant difference. Yeah. And launch angles are a little bit up as well. So I don't know what's in the water at these stadiums, but the players must be drinking that good shit,
Yeah, that good.
So Kyle Freeland. I mean, Javi, what can you say about Kyle Freeland that I haven't?
I always felt like he was more of a matchup based pitcher than anything. He's not gonna get you strikeouts. He's won his first 2 games, and I think his first game he had like 1 strikeout, and then yesterday I believe he had like 4 or 5. But like I've always seen him as more of a pickup option, not somebody that you want as part of your everyday lineup. You know what I mean? But the one that kind of surprised me, it was that first game against the Padres. I mean, you seen the Padres lineup.
Yeah,
it's stacked, bro. Like
they're stacked from the top to the middle.
Yeah. So for him to pitch the way he did against a stacked lineup like that, I was like, wait, what?
Well,
where did this come from?
So one thing that I'll say is he kept the walks down to a minimum. He only walked 1 batter, and that is exceptional against a team like the Padres because, that's Slam Diego. A couple seasons ago, you walk a couple batters, they're going to make you pay for it. Yep. One thing that did help him a lot was they were in San Diego, and San Diego is known as a pitcher's ballpark. So that definitely helped him out a bit. He only allowed 3 hits in 6 innings pitched. Beginning of the season, I don't know if the Padres are just kind of not hitting so well. Only 3 hits off of a guy like this.
So I was gonna say a lot of these teams that you would think would come out the gates like blazing hot, like the Phillies, they got a stacked lineup and they're not doing so great. And I think it's just, getting the cobwebs out, getting the rust out. I mean, I know they do, preseason stuff. But, a lot of these teams are not really doing what we expect them to do. So like as far as Freeland goes, I would ride him out until he plays against a more legit team. I mean, I know I said the Padres, like he kind of whooped on them, but like we were saying, start of the season, teams are getting situated, whatever. So they might, play better as they go. And I don't know. It was a weird pickup. Like I picked him up in our league, and I mean he's been great so far. So I'm gonna write him out until I see some, till he plays somebody that's not gonna be good for him to play against.
Well, he has the Cardinals coming up soon. So it is at Coors Field. So I would be a little weary about that one. I might not necessarily drop him, but I don't think I would start him in Coors Field against a good lineup like that. So that was the most added pitcher for week 1. Going on to the most added hitter. Now, this is the most ads I have ever seen for a hitter in the beginning of the season. He had 19,010 ads after week 1. This is freaking crazy. And that's Brian Anderson. Brian Anderson in Yahoo. I'm not sure about other sites. He's eligible at third base and outfield, plays in Milwaukee. Now, this is one of the reasons why I think that he's actually doing as good as he is. It's because he's not playing in Miami anymore. Miami's never really been known as a hitter's ballpark, especially because they play in a dome. Now in Milwaukee, Milwaukee's definitely known as a hitter's ballpark. So this could possibly be, one of the reasons why he's been doing so well. So he's a little bit on the older side. He's been in the league for a little while now. And honestly, I was like, Brian Anderson. Who the hell is Brian Anderson? Because I remember that there's so many guys with just like those typical names, Brian and Anderson, and he has both of them, Yeah. Yep. So I actually had to look this guy up. He's 29 years old. He's a big dude, 6'2", 215, plays on the Brewers. Been in the league since 2017. Right now, currently, his batting average is 500. His expected batting average is 356. So he's having a little bit of good luck. But still, if your expected batting average is 356, that's still pretty damn good.
Yeah.
OPS is at a 1621. What the hell?
I didn't even go. It went that high.
Right? Exactly. How do you do that?
Yeah.
All right. So far this season, he has 4 extra base hits in 23 plate appearances. That's not including if he's played yet already today. I'm not sure if he has or not. Last season, in 383 plate appearances with the Marlins, he only had 75 hits, 25 extra base hits. So the extra base hits, he has some decent pop. This season, he's actually hitting the ball on an average exit velocity of 93.3 miles an hour. Now, that's pretty damn hard to hit that ball on average at 93.9, 93.3 miles per hour. Now, it is a very small sample size, 23 plate appearances. But, I mean, to me, this could be a breakout, an older breakout, which we've seen in the past before. Now, is it likely? Probably not. It's probably just a hot streak, but he's hitting the ball 4 miles an hour harder than he has in the past.
Right.
And I'm looking at these pitchers that he's faced. Now, even though he's a right-handed bat, he hits right-handed pitchers way better than he hits left-handed pitchers. So against Marcus Stroman, right-handed pitcher, Carlos Carrasco, right-handed pitcher, Max Scherzer, right-handed pitcher. There are some relievers that he faced. So real quick, against Carrasco has a 11.25 ERA. Max Scherzer has a 6.35 ERA. David Peterson has a 6 ERA. I don't remember his first name. Assad has a 20.25 ERA. Rayleigh has a 15.43 ERA, and Merriweather has a 27 ERA. So these are all the guys that he's been hitting against. So if their ERAs are that high, it's not just Brian Anderson that's getting hits against these pitchers. It's whole teams, that are doing the punches and bunches, scoring a lot of runs. Javier Assad, that's his name. How can I forget the same dude that has your first name, Doug?
Come on, man.
So against Javier Assad, he had a 108 mile an hour exit velocity. Against Max Scherzer, he had a 106.7 and a 104.9. Against Carrasco, he had a 104.8. Against Marcus Stroman, he had a 104.6 grounder. Against Brooks Raley, he had 103.8. Julian Merriweather, 102.9. Justin Steele, a 97.2 mile an hour grounder. David Peterson, a 94.1 pop fly. So he's hitting the ball pretty freaking hard against some decent pitchers. Max Scherzer the other day, he really didn't have it. He got beat up by the Brewers. I think that's just what we're going to see from Max Scherzer from time to time, just because of age and the weather right now.
Wear and tear, bro.
Wear and tear on a 38-year-old arm that's been in the league for like 12 seasons, something like that.
Yeah,
that's a long time, dude. That's a lot of pitches on that arm. That's never required like any type of surgery. He did have dead arm a couple years ago, and ever since then, I've been very weary of Max Scherzer. I don't think that I'll ever have that trust in him that a lot of other people do. He's still considered a top 5 pitcher in the league. In my book, yes, he's a top 5 pitcher when he's healthy, but I just don't trust him to be healthy for 162 games. We have freak injuries and stuff like that, but I honestly think that it's just age is coming to get him, and I don't think he's going to last that long. I think he's going to be on his way out sometime within the next year or two.
I agree.
I don't trust him. But I think. No, go ahead.
So touching on this Brian Anderson, I remember when he was with the Marlins and seemed like a solid player, but like you, I had to kind of look him up a little bit because I didn't have the full info on him. He's got a lot of injuries, man. I think since 2019, he's been injured pretty frequently. I see that he's had elbow injuries, hand injuries, obliques, 3 shoulder injuries, and a back injury. So, think about it. That's 3 years worth of injuries, and that's gonna hurt you. I think last season he didn't. I think he only played like 80 some odd games. But honestly, if he can stay healthy, and he's hitting the ball this hard, I could totally see a breakout from him as well. I mean, he's 29, but it's not that old, and then moving to a hitters friendly ballpark is only gonna help him. And I like how the Brewers they take care of their ball players, like injury wise and stuff like that. Like they've always been a pretty solid team when it comes to stuff like that. So write them out. I mean, if you picked them up, great. Let's see how long this goes for .
Yeah, I really feel like fantasy baseball, like especially in daily lineups, you really have to play the matchups, whether it's pitchers or hitters or whatever. There's sleeper hitters for weeks at a time, and maybe there's okay. So take for example the catcher from the Mets that just got called up, Francisco Alvarez. He has great pedigree. He's supposed to become like one of the top 10 catchers in the league. He's very young. Yeah. I think they said he's 22, and the only reason why he got called up is because the Mets catcher.
Someone got injured.
He got injured. I don't remember his name, unfortunately, but he's just not. He's not memorable. But I think he actually used to play in Colorado. But if the Mets had a Colorado series next week, I'd be hyping this guy up right now. Francisco Alvarez, go pick him up. Especially if you need a catcher. Everyone always needs a catcher, except for in the shallower leagues. In a points league, I don't know too much about Francisco Alvarez, but I know he has big pop. I know they're saying that his power is similar to Salvador Perez. So we could see something like a 30 to 35 home runs from another catcher in the league. And honestly, I think there's only 3 guys that can actually do that. 1 being Salvador Perez, 2 being Will Smith, and 3 being Francisco Alvarez of the Mets. So it's good they're giving him a shot right now. Now that their catcher is going to miss a third of the season, they're saying that he's going to get a lot of at bats. So he only has DH eligibility in Yahoo right now. Which that's probably going to change within the next week or so, maybe 2 weeks, because he's probably only going to get.
How long is the catcher going to be out for?
2 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he'll definitely get catcher eligibility. I believe in Yahoo it takes 8 starts at a position to be able to be eligible at that position. So he'll probably start at catcher 3 times a week or so, 2 or 3 times a week. Sharing time with I think it's Thomas Nido. I think that's his name. So within the next 2 or 3 weeks, we should see him get catcher eligibility. But even though he doesn't have catcher eligibility now, if this guy has really this kind of power and a decent batting average, go pick him up now. Don't hesitate. He only has utility, so you have to use him in your utility spot. But there's got to be someone on your lineups that you can drop for a guy with this much upside.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
So one thing that I kind of wanted to mention about the most added pitcher for last week, Kyle Freeland. There's actually another pitcher that's less than 70% owned that I would actually like to highlight. And unfortunately, I was kind of going back and forth about who I wanted to drop for him, and he ended up getting taken in all of my leagues. Former, I guess you can call him an ace for the Cleveland Indians back then, and then he got traded to San Diego. That's Mike Clevinger. So Mike Clevinger last season, walks were just insane for him. He's coming off of Tommy John surgery also. Walks were crazy for him. Exit velocity was a little bit down. This season, his exit velocity is actually up about 1.5 miles per hour. So I could definitely see him getting back to form. We're probably not going to see more than 150 innings from him, just because he's a little too injury prone. And Tommy John wasn't that far away, just about 1.5 years ago or something like that. I don't know, something like that. And the Padres actually knew that. When they signed him for that 3-year deal, they knew that he wasn't going to be available for at least 1 year of that contract. And they believed in him that much that they gave him a 3-year contract. Even with the possibility of not even being able to pitch and not coming back, to his old form. But I don't know, man. I think he's actually becoming like the pitcher that we thought we were going to see just a couple years ago. So he had a 4.33 ERA in 2022 with a career low 18.8 K percentage, which is actually still pretty good. 18.8 K percentage in 2023. Honestly, I think it could be a huge comeback year for Clevinger if he can find the strike zone more often. He just faced the Astros and he allowed 3 hits, which is not bad, but he walked 3. So he got to keep the walks down to a minimum. I feel like he's still just a little bit wild, needs to work on those mechanics a little bit more, get back to his old form. After a big surgery like that, it's hard to kind of just get back to your old routine. You want to compensate. You want to try not to get injured anymore. So in addition to walking 3 batters, he actually hit 2 batters as well. But he had 8 strikeouts in 5 innings pitched. So the strikeouts are still there, dude. Like I said, velocity is up on his fastball. Breaking pitches are actually moving now. This dude has such a weird delivery that he definitely gets batters kind of off of their comfort zone. So
that setup, man, it's so crazy.
It is. I tried to do that in my backyard when I'm just throwing with my kid, and I'm like, how the hell does he do that? It's so weird.
For real.
But whatever works for you. Like Nestor Cortez of the Yankees, he has a weird delivery too, which I don't think he's going to really be able to do anymore because of the pitch clock.
The count. Yep.
Yeah, but with Clevinger,
what was that he got called out because he threw the ball too fast against a hitter.
Oh yeah.
And then he decided
pitch.
to take his sweet ass time the next time around, and I was like, "Oh my god, this guy!"
I've seen this guy. There was one time when he pitched, and it was legit 5 seconds, from his windup till he actually threw the pitch. He lifted up his leg, kicked his leg 3 or 4 times. Johnny Cueto kind of does something like that
I was about
also.
to say that. Yep.
So funny, but yeah, man, I think the biggest struggles for Clevinger are the walks. He's a little wild, as we saw with the 2-hit batsman against the Astros, and I'm fine with him hitting the Astros. Just don't do that if you're on my fantasy team. I'm actually thinking about this might be a buy candidate. I might actually try to trade for Mike Clevinger since I kind of waited a little bit too long.
Dude, imagine that rotation if Clevinger can get back to Cleveland form. You got Cease, you got Giolito, Lance Lynn, which he's up there in age, but he's still pretty solid. And then you got Clevinger. That's 4 solid dudes right there, man.
Yeah.
And the offense is not bad if they can stay healthy. That's not bad, dude.
So it's funny you actually mentioned Lance Lynn because Lance Lynn actually just had a clunker.
Yeah.
Going over. All right. So San Francisco Giants. He allowed 9 hits, 8 earned runs. He allowed 3 home runs, had 3 walks, and only 5 strikeouts in 4.1 innings. So the strikeouts are actually okay. He has more than a strikeout per inning, but 9 hits, 8 earned runs.
Yeah, you got
three home runs. Oh my God! Against the Giants, the Giants don't have a good lineup, dude. They won the division 2 years ago on a complete fluke, and they proved that the following year because they were just booty.
Yep.
Lance Lynn. What do you think about Lance Lynn? For fantasy managers that own Lance Lynn, is this guy a guy that you want to hold on to? You want to just trust him, or what do you think?
I mean, we've seen glimpses of like the old Lance Lynn, and then recent. Well, I don't know how recent, but like his last game, I was kind of in shock because, like you said, the Giants don't really have a great lineup. So that kind of took me by surprise. He might be regressing, bro. Honestly, hold on to him only because if you're in like a deeper league, you might not have many options out there. Because he'll have his good games, but I mean, I don't know how long. I don't know how long you can hold on to him for if he's going to be having games like this.
Yeah, especially against weak lineups like that.
Yeah.
So this season, his fastball has been coming about 92 miles an hour. It's 91.9 on average. Last season, it was at 93. So it's down a little bit more than 1 mile an hour.
How old is he?
He is 35, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's 35. But he's a big-ass dude. He's 6'5", 270 pounds. So his body should be able to handle it. He's not like those lanky guys like Chris Sale that are just like very like frail,
Yeah.
But honestly, I think he just needs to get that velocity up on his fastball. Get back up to the 93.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be like the biggest thing for him, Let's see. His changeup was 85 miles an hour. The last year was 85.8, so that really didn't change much. Sinker was at 91. Last year was at 91. So everything else looks okay. I think they just they figured out how to hit the fastball off of him. That's actually where the 3 home runs came from. They came off of his fastball. So if he can get that velocity up, get that command back, I think that we can actually see a decent season from Lance Lynn. I believe last season he ended with like a 3.99 ERA, which is not the greatest in the world. But in the environment that we're watching right now, it just seems like offense is just up all across the board. Home runs, hits, stolen bases, like everything is just up right now. So, do I recommend Lance Lynn? I feel like for now, you just got to play the matchups. If he's going to be, playing like the Yankees, I probably wouldn't start him. But if he's playing, I don't know, the Marlins, why not? I'll go ahead and start him against weak lineups. Even though he did face a weak lineup in the Giants, I still got to trust him just a little bit more. I'd say
you're going to have those days. You'll have those days.
All starting pitchers have clunkers once in a while, even aces. So, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt just because of track record.
Yeah.
Let's see. 2022, he had a 3.99 ERA, but the season before he had a 2.69 ERA. So what happened in that time? He only had 21 starts in 2022. So there was definitely an injury in there. He only had 121 innings pitched. So maybe he's just not back to form yet. Give him a little bit time, and I think he will be.
Yep.
All right. So next segment that we wanted to talk about is he legit or nah? So I asked you, Javi, to give me one player to someone that started on a hot streak so far, and I'm going to ask you the question: is he legit or nah? So who's your player?
So I've been very high on this guy ever since he came up. Really young. Wander Franco, right? This dude ever since he got brought up, he's been looked at as this five-tool player. He's got it all. Young, he could, hit home runs, steal bases, the whole shebang. Um, he's right now, I think he's got 2 home runs, 7 ribbies, 10 hits, 10 for 24. I don't know what the average on that is, but um, the thing that I guess people sway from with this guy is his injury history. And
Yeah.
even though he's only been in the league, a couple years, um, it's a big deal, especially for a young guy. But if you're young, you can heal from injuries pretty quick, than these older cats. And I just feel like if he can stay healthy, man, this dude is a legit league winner. And I'm pissed because you took him from me when we're doing the draft.
I got
So I was pretty hot about it, man, because I was eyeballing him, and we did the whole the auction draft and stuff. So I was like, man, do I shell out the money? Do I not? And you got him for pretty cheap. I don't remember. I don't remember how much you got him for.
I think I got it for $8.
Yeah, it was cheap, bro. And I was like, man, this one got a steal.
Yeah.
So
hey, there's some other guys that got a pretty good hookup also. I think Bryce Harper only went for like $9 or something like that. It's because he got nominated towards the end of the draft when no one else had money left. So
yeah,
I really think the guy that got Bryce Harper for only $9 and a $260 budget, he came up big time.
Yeah.
Wander Franco, I don't know, man. He's a little scary. So in 2021, he hurt his hamstring. In 2022, he hurt his quad twice. Hurt his leg. I don't know what the severity of that was, and he had a wrist injury in 2022. So the wrist injury I'm willing to overlook, but he's already hurt his leg 4 times within the last year and a half. So that's kind of scary, especially for a guy that relies on running.
Yeah.
I think that maybe he needs to bring that down to a minimum. Just rely on your bat to do it for you. Don't worry about stealing bases. Let's see. He has 2 stolen bases so far in this season. He's batting .417, a .792 slug. Freaking amazing, dude.
Yeah. The guy
let's
can
see.
hit, man.
In 2022, he had 8 stolen bases in 83 games. 2021, he only had 2 stolen bases in 70 games. So he has some decent pop. I feel like speed is really his biggest factor for value wise. He had 3 triples in 2021, and 5 triples in 2021 and 3 triples in 2022, and not even a full season. That's less than half a season. Actually,
Just imagine like a full season of this dude. That'd be
the
awesome.
older he gets, I feel like the better he's going to get. He's only 22 years old, man.
He's young, bro.
Just please stay healthy.
Yes, please. Like I'm telling you, if for this season, you picked him up. Like I believe if he can stay healthy, obviously he's not gonna play every day. But if he can bring those injuries down to a minimum, this dude is a legit beast. I feel, in my opinion, he's a leader.
So. Exit velocity for Wander Franco is up a little bit from last year. Last year it was at 87.3. This year it's at 89.9. He's right at that, right at the cusp of being like a legit power hitter. 90 miles an hour and above is what you want to see. Sorry. But his expected batting average for this season is at 355. Expected slug is at 681. Sorry. K rate is down. He's at a 7.4. I think that's one of the biggest values that you can get from Wander Franco because he walks so much. He has more walks than strikeouts. Let's see. So this season,
he don't strike out a lot, man.
This season, he has 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. Yeah, so he has very good plate discipline, super valuable in points leagues, which is what we play in.
Yep.
I was really eyeballing him from the beginning, and we have 3 IL spots. So if he does need a little bit of time on the IL, as long as he's there for fantasy playoffs, that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. So to me, he is for real. He is hot.
All right, so my player, is he for real or is he not? We actually already talked about, so we don't really have to go over it again, but that was Brian Anderson. I talked about like all the matchups that he's had so far. The exit velocity is up. Like you said, man, he just has to stay healthy. It's the 2 guys that are off onto a hot streak in the beginning of the season that just need to stay healthy. Now, your guy is 22, my guy is 29. And I actually have both of them actually in our league. So I guess I came up a little bit on that one. No. But
I didn't know you had Anderson.
Yeah, I do. I do, sir.
Oh, crap.
Actually, I don't know if I have him in our league or not. I have him in one of my leagues. I am actually going to look at that right now just to see. Yes, I do have him in our league.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So I have he's third base and outfield eligible, which is actually pretty huge because third base sucks this year and outfield sucks this year. So to get one player that's eligible at both, very good. Very good job, Will.
Ride him till the wheels fall off, man.
Yeah, exactly. Even if he does slow down a little bit, I think I'm still going to hold on to him just because I have some depth. I got a couple bench hitters. Usually in my points leagues, I don't like to have bench hitters. I just want my starting lineup, and I want to fill my bench with pitchers. But this season, I feel like because it's a keeper league now, it kind of changes my strategy a little bit because there are certain guys that I'm like, well, I might need him for next year. So I don't want to drop him, I'll figure out later on who I'm going to drop. But like, I'm already looking at my team and I'm like, I'm keeping that guy, keeping that guy, keeping that guy. We're doing 5 keepers, 5 MLB keepers and 3 prospect keepers. So, it's going to be interesting to see who everyone keeps, and I'm actually thinking about increasing our league size to 12 next season. There's a couple of guys that want to get in the league. Last season we had a couple of guys that were in the league that just didn't make any moves. So those are the guys that we didn't invite back for this season because I want the league to be a little bit more active.
Right.
But next season, since we're only keeping 5 each, I feel like there's a lot of players that are not going to be kept, that where teams actually just like overpaid like crazy amounts for just one player. I paid a lot of money for Mookie Betts, but I feel like Mookie Betts is actually worth it, and he's going to keep his second base eligibility next season because Dave Roberts keeps on putting him at second base this year.
Dude, that's dope because now you don't got to worry about second base, which is one of those weaker positions.
Or if I do end up drafting a second baseman, then he can just shift over to the outfield.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's basically it for this episode of Real Talk Fantasy Baseball. Javi, did you want to say anything else?
Nah, man, I'm just excited, dude, to be looking at all the analytics and all this shit, with baseball, and it's been a pretty exciting week and a half of baseball, and we still got 2 days left, for this first official week of baseball to be over. So I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped.
All right, so real quick, I did forget that I wanted to do that like rapid fire.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
So let's do that real quick. All right, so for those of you that are watching for this weekend, if you're looking for a pitcher streamer to pick up, I am going to look up all the pitchers that are pitching this weekend, and we're only going to recommend pitchers that are rostered in less than 70% of leagues. So The first pitcher that comes up, let's see. So I have to remember Tyler Anderson. So I'm going to look at the schedule, go down to Tyler Anderson. Where is this guy? Sorry. My phone was set at the list, but it must have
damn iPhones.
I know. It like refreshed and then took me back to just like the first screen. And where the hell was this guy? All right. What the hell did I do?
I don't know, bro.
Yeah, this dead air is killing me. All right. 70%. Let's see. All right. It goes. So Tyler Mahle, Clay Holmes, Tyler Anderson. All right. Remember that. Tyler Mahle, Clay Holmes. Oh, there we go. All right. All right. So today, Friday, it's a little too late. So let's just do Saturdays and Sundays matchups.
All right.
All right. John Gray at the Cubs.
Yes.
Reed Detmers versus Toronto.
No.
Jameson Taillon versus Texas.
Ooh. At Texas?
Versus Texas. So at Chicago.
Oh. Yeah.
All right. Andrew Heaney versus KC.
Heaney. Who does he pitch for now?
Texas.
Yes.
Hunter Brown at Minnesota.
Minnesota's been hot, man.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I'm gonna say no, just because he he's at the back end of that rotation. I think he's a number 5, right?
Yeah, and he had a bit of a bad start in his last time out.
I'm gonna stay away from that one.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
All right, Michael Kopech at Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Graham Ashcraft at the Phillies.
No.
Really? Because Phillies only have 1 win so far.
I know, but Ashcraft is not a bad pitcher. I just don't. I mean, I'm telling you, like these teams that we consider like really good teams, a lot of them are coming out slow out the gates. They gotta blow it open, man. They have to.
Yeah, eventually it'll happen.
All
right, Seth Lugo at Atlanta.
No.
German Marquez versus St. Louis.
No.
Nick Pivetta at Tampa.
No.
Carrasco versus Miami.
Ooh. Is that at New York?
Yes. No. Yes, at New York.
He's so up and down, dude. He's up there in age too. I'm gonna say yeah.
All right. I don't trust the Cookie Monster, so I'm gonna say no on that one.
Yeah.
Taijuan Walker versus Cincinnati.
Yes.
Kenta Maeda versus the White Sox.
Yeah.
Yusei Kikuchi at the Angels.
No.
Matthew Boyd versus Boston.
Yeah.
Zach Greinke at the Rangers.
No.
Roansy Contreras versus the Astros.
Ooh, I like Roansy. He's one of them young pitchers, dude. But not against the Astros. No.
Anthony Descalfani versus the Royals.
Yeah.
Dylan Dodd versus San Diego.
No. And that's only because I don't really know Dodd, but San Diego.
Oh. Let's see. Domingo Germán at Baltimore.
Yeah.
Cole Irvin versus the Yankees.
No.
Tanner Houck at Detroit.
Boston, right?
Yes, Boston. But he was a reliever last year, so he's probably not going to go very deep.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from that one.
Marco Gonzalez at Cleveland.
No.
And Shintaro Fujinami of the Oakland Athletics at the Tampa Bay Rays.
Man, he got shelled in his first game.
Yeah, he did. Big time.
Yeah, I'm not riding that wave right now. I'm gonna wait.
All right, that's it. That's all the streamers for this weekend. Okay. I actually want to make that a segment. So every Friday, let's try to do that.
Oh yeah, we should put like a fucking timer. That'd be pretty dope. Like, all right, go. This guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. You know?
Yeah, I wish we could have Tony come on too, so that way both of you guys can give your answers.
Damn Tone Loke.
Yeah, Tone Loke. You need to get on, Tony. That's not watching anymore.
Yeah, right.
All right, guys, the time has come to say goodbye to all our family. This was Real Talk Baseball. I am Will Power with Javi the Commish signing out. If you guys have any questions, realtalkbaseball@yahoo.com, and we'll see you guys next week.
Subscribe, y'all.
Subscribe, like, and share. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week.